Should we get offensive?
Yes.
Should we anger all the feminists?
Oh.
Are you prepared to make feminists angry?
Okay, what are we doing here?
All right.
Let's go.
So I got this. This is actually fairly old. This is from Zach Goldberg. He's a great data researcher and journalist on Twitter. And he tweeted this. He says, overall, and with one exception, white moderates, those in the 18 to 29 age group are more likely to report being diagnosed with a mental health condition. The differences among white liberals, though, are striking. Almost half of white liberals in this cohort report a diagnosis. And in this graph, he shows us 4 different age groups, 18 to 29, 30 to 49, 50 to 64, and 65 plus. 65 plus from liberal, moderate to conservative, low instances of mental health. Mental health conditions. Low instances of mental health. No. The opposite.
We just don't have any.
This is amazing. Among 18 to 29-year-old white liberals, 45.9% mental illness. White conservatives, 20.9%, less than half. This is amazing. Even among the 65 and up, the white liberals are overwhelmingly more mentally ill than moderates and conservatives. Now we're going to offend the feminists. Let's break down let's break down a little bit these demographics, because Zach Goldberg gives us another one.
He goes there.
He says, some of you asked for it, so here is the last chart broken down by gender. The biggest gap with age X ideological group is between white liberal men and women in the 18 to 29 category. That's right. White liberal women between the ages of 18 and 29 have a 56.3% instance of being diagnosed with a mental health condition. White liberal men, 33.6. Among 30 to 49-year-olds, white liberals, women, 39.7, men, 29.7. And it's very, very similar, but even among white conservative women, 27.3% in the 18 to 29 age bracket. Now, the first thing I'll say is, I think the age thing shows us a generational shift in mental health diagnosis. Someone who's 65 probably was not diagnosed with conditions when they were young, and if they're older, don't care to go to the doctor and actually get diagnosed with this. The difference and the important factor is the gap. Among white liberals, 65 and older, it's almost identical, 15.2 to 15%. White liberal men and women, 65 or older, have similar instances of mental health issues. So there is something creating a massive gap between white liberal, Gen Z, millennials. And I think I know what it might be.
What is it?
Not having families.
Yep.
Not having relationships, not necessarily families, not necessarily kids, but no relationships. And I particularly think no kids. And I wonder if, and you can give me your opinion, and Lydia as well, because you're the ladies in the room. We've had other people on the show say that the reason women are unwell and unhappy and depressed is because they're not having children.
What do you think, Julie?
Yeah, what do you think?
Maybe.
Sorry, I hope you don't mind me asking. Were you ever like super depressed? Did you find this to be an issue for you before you had your kid?
I actually got a lot of anxiety after.
Oh,
postpartum anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I think with older people, I think was just a stigma against reaching out and getting therapy and all that. With the younger people, I feel like being a liberal would be so hard, because if you don't have kids, like you were talking about, you're focused on all this other stuff, and a lot of stuff is just out of your control. Like the liberals are very focused on like climate change issues. I know that's a huge one with them, having climate change anxiety and just, all this racism and stuff, and it's out of your control, where I think conservative people are kind of more focused inwards and on the individual and on their families, where liberals is like, I want to save the world peace. And it's like, no, there's Ukraine and Crimea and all this stuff, and you can't do anything on an individual level about that.
That is such a good point, because you're right. Conservatives do focus on the individual level, and that means they do things like make families, they have kids, they focus on their work, they find things to do that are meaningful, and they don't tend to stress too much about stuff that they cannot have any possible control over, like global warming. When it comes to the older people, a lot of them probably did struggle with this stuff, and they probably just learned to live with it,
or
and maybe
keep
never
it
got
hush
diagnosed.
hush.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
you're
just don't suck it up.
You're
right.
you're
Stiff
destroying
upper
the
lip.
family.
Exactly.
We don't
keep it together.
Yeah.
But then like the whole family thing, I definitely think that the fact that women aren't having children is incredibly depressing to them. I just want to throw my 2 cents in there, because I think that's probably one of the biggest problems that we face.
You know the meme about, you guys ever watch Archer?
Yeah. Oh,
No.
yeah. I
I
love that
don't.
show.
No.
I don't think
What's
I'm
wrong
more.
with you people?
I'm just not intelligent enough. I feel like to get it.
You don't
not
have
a
to be
smart
intelligent.
show.
Trust me.
I just play games, video games.
There was that episode
entertainment.
where
Such a good show.
I can't. It's been a long time since I watched Archer.
I just rewatched it. Which one?
What's the name of the Alana? Is that her name?
Wait.
Ilana?
Lana.
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 Why did I
Yeah.
say Ilana?
Lana.
Archer keeps calling her baby crazy,
Yes,
and it's funny.
she is.
But it's like there's a joke that very much resonates with. I think 30 Rock did this joke. TV shows and culture have made jokes about women whose biological clocks are ticking and how they want to have kids. Men don't experience that. I'm wondering if that plays a role in why there's a gap between men and women, like a biological difference.
It does for me. I'm not in a rush to have kids, and if I was, I'd be in a completely different person. My goals and my behavior would be completely off.
That's dudes.
yeah. You have to
Yeah,
work.
I
like-
can have kids when I'm 80.
That's a privilege. Yeah.
It's not as easy, but you can.
Yeah.
They found that men also lose fertility. I mean, later than women, but like 40s and 50s, and there's more of a chance of having a problem with the child.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't want to
It's-
destroy
it-
the male ego here.
No.
No,
I've
it
been
is
doing
it is
this-
true, but the issue is that
More women, yeah.
if a guy's
sooner.
firing off several million,
Yeah,
each
yeah.
instance,
You what?
if 90% of those are just deficient,
Yeah.
he's got a couple that are working.
No, you got like millions.
Right.
There's a lot
So what
going on
happens
there.
is that you'll end up seeing, older guys have kids, and for women, it's a lot different. I know it's like the craziest thing that this is an offensive topic, but it is like feminists. Whenever I talk about this kind of stuff, it's like all the feminists start lighting me up on Twitter. They're all angry. And I'm like, is it wrong to point out that they're advising women to freeze their eggs? I mean, do your thing, man. More power to you. I'm not,
It really works, freezing eggs.
yeah.
I think we're kind of lying to women saying, there are instances of 40-year-old women having birth, but they're rare. Do you really want to take that risk? Probably
Well-
not if you really want kids.
So think about this, right? When we're talking about mental illness, I don't want to act like I am saying this is the sole reason
No, of
people
course not.
experience mental illness.
It's a huge factor.
But I'm saying I believe there's a huge factor in the fact that as a 35-year-old guy with no kids, I should probably start thinking about having a family, but I got whatever.
Your
I'm a dude.
sperm is okay, but are you energetic enough for kids if you're
That's a good
40,
point,
50,
yeah.
60 baby years old? Because you saw my son, he was jumping up and down on
So
those
fun.
feed bags.
I got
like-
energy for days. man.
Oh,
He does this too. Tim
okay.
does.
Yeah.
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 He's
yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
I think
I'm a crazy
Just
person.
let you know.
But the point is, I don't have to consider
Yeah.
a biological limitation.
If you were a 35-year-old woman, you definitely would.
So I'm wondering if there are women who are sitting here, and you guys tell me what you think, when they're looking at the media saying, just freeze your eggs and work and be a CEO. And they're thinking to themselves, but I want to have kids too. And you've got a combination of mainstream liberal social stigma telling you, no, you can't take time off, and the physical realities of you might have to.
Tick, tick.
You could be a CEO later in life, though. Like, your kids are so young for such a short amount of time. Like, I'm 32. I have the rest of my life to work. I can be 40, 50 years old. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She's still working. So she got it all. Women, there's also the thing that women can have it all. Like, no, you can't. You can't have it all at the same time.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
You-
we have it backwards. And I do
Uh-huh.
think that you have a point because I've known so many great and amazing women who went and they raised their kids. They got them like up into high
Yeah.
school. And they sent them off and they're like, and then they went back to school. A lot of them became nurses. Some of them became teachers and pharmacists and stuff. I was like, that seems like such a good balance because if you want to work, by the time you're that age, you'll know exactly what you want to do. Your kids will have a firm start in life and you'll be able to go forward.
Yeah, and you could have it, your career and your kids
Yeah.
at the same time, and you're not worrying about, I'm 35,
babies,
40 years old,
yeah.
I might have to get IVF, which is really expensive.
Right.
You mentioned your kids are really young for a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of this really funny story. This guy posted on the internet. He was like 25, and he went and visited his dad. Or it's like he was at his parents' house for the holidays, and out of nowhere, his dad walks in the room and just grabs him and lifts him up as high as he could. And he's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And his dad said, "I saw a meme where it said,
The
one
last
day
time,
you lifted your child for the last time
Aw.
and didn't realize it." And then they both started laughing. Like his dad was basically like, "I can pick my son up whenever I want." But no, that's it's an interesting point too. Like, the people don't realize that. You pick your kid up one day, the next day you don't, and then that may have been the last time and you never noticed. There's going to be a last time. And then, so that dad walks in, he's like picking up his 25-year-old
Oh, yeah.
man of his son,
I love it. That's cute.
Do you guys think that there's like resentment between women and men? The women resenting the men their age that don't want to have kids and don't have to, and the women are like, but I feel guilty for resenting them because they shouldn't have to, and they're not biologically bound, so why would they? But then they're internalizing this resentment and lashing out against men.
I think there's some women who do, but I think there's some men who do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My bigger concern is not like the individual. It's what we're encouraging and exacerbating in culture.
I would ask that because I think I have some deep resentment against women that want to have kids with me at my age because they are on a time clock.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I know they are, and I shouldn't.
It's hard.
Feel
It's
that.
I
pressure,
feel the
yeah.
pressure. Yeah. Well, I think that's why you more often see a younger woman and an older man. I think it kind of makes sense. The men at a later age are more financially
They're more
stable,
mature.
more mature, and
That's for
they're
sure.
better able to raise a child, where the younger woman is both more fertile. Okay. So I think that combination makes more sense. So I would say, if you're a young 20-something-year-old girl, probably don't date guys that are in their young 20s because most of them, they don't want to have kids right now. They don't have to. Maybe go a decade up or so. That's just my opinion.
And now here's the really offensive part for the feminists. The kind of person who's going to be writing an article consistently or writing articles consistently is not likely to be, a stay-at-home mom who's got kids and dealing with them. You tend to see the careerist feminists who are in these positions at media outlets with the time and energy to write these articles. So their perspective is that of one type of person, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As a stay-at-home mom, you don't really have as powerful as a voice, I would say.
Right.
Definitely.
It's really fascinating to see all these feminist writers, and it's no surprise then that many of the women who work in digital media are feminists because, they don't want to have families, they want a career, and they want to fight for that. That's their opinion. That's why they're there, or one of the reasons. And they're going to write those opinions over and over and over again. Then it's interesting because I wonder how that affects other women who know it's like, hey, I want to have a kid before this age. But everything you read from every woman in a high-profile media position is saying, don't have kids, freeze your eggs.
Discouraging.
I was thinking if my mom had focused all the energy she focused on me and my brothers into the world, it would have been very bad for the world because she was very neurotic, not in a harmful way, but neuroticism as a personality trait, overly just micromanaging and wanting everything to be perfect and for me to not be exposed to the wrong thing. And like if she had been doing that to other people, I think that would have been devastating. So I see your point.
Interesting point.
I don't know.
These people are blogging as opposed to treating
Well,
their
so when I look at this chart from Zach Goldberg, and you can see that consistently there's a gap between men and women, except for moderates between 50 and 64, men are more likely to. This is fascinating. Check this out. Among white moderates, men are more likely to have been diagnosed with a mental illness by about 1 percentage point. You want to know what I think that might be? 50 to 64 years old.
Divorce?
No.
war veterans,
Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Vietnam. Korea,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
even Iraq at this point. The
Yeah.
first Iraq
Yep.
War in
Oh,
93.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
God. 20
Yep.
years ago.
Which
Absolutely.
was way more brutal than we heard about in the news.
20
by the
years
way.
ago. Some of these
Oh,
guys
that's
might have
good.
been 30 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and they might have been had a career in the military, and now they're getting
Yep.
deployed, and they've seen some stuff. But that's only one group. It's only moderates. I mean, among liberals, it's not there. Among conservatives, it's still
That's
women.
like 1%, yeah. So.
But I wonder, why is it? And no matter what you say, you're gonna offend somebody. That women consistently report having more mental health conditions is because women are more willing to go to the doctor,
Yeah.
probably.
I
or is it
think-
because men are big and strong and you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need to.
nothing
go to
gonna
the
get me
doctor.
down. Depression.
Definitely
Oh,
not
I'll
that.
punch it out of myself.
Oh,
Stoicism. Yeah.
I'll just forget about it.
Yeah.
Guy wakes up. He's like,
away.
I'm depressed today. So he punches himself in the face. And he's like, no, I'm not. Ugh.
That's how it works, right?
I'm pretty sure that would be a mental illness.
I think so.
Women are.
Maybe you should go to the doctor.
Yeah, I think seeing a therapist, admitting you have a problem is seen as a weakness to men.
I don't want to acknowledge my own
Right.
neuroses.
Who does?
I feel stupid when I do that, and I feel like I'm creating it when it wasn't there.
I think for me, it's more I'm too arrogant. Not in that I'm like, no one's going to tell me I'm weak. It's kind of like, no, I self-analyze and I self-diagnose, and then I try to assess and solve any things that I see. in myself. So when I'm feeling depressed, when I'm anxious, when I'm angry, I kind of, question and think about it and try and figure out what's conducive to a positive working environment or to my goals. And if this thing I'm feeling isn't doing that, then I need to navigate that myself. And I do, and it works for me. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.